Okay, I think we are live. If you see us, say hi because we can see your comments on our screen, but come as you are because we can't see you. We can chat with you in the comments. So don't worry about what you're wearing or where you're sitting or what project you're working on. I am so excited to be here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Ayes, and I am the designer behind Double the Stitches. And I am so thrilled to have my dear friend Dawn from Twice Sheared Sheep here with me, and we are kicking off the a brand new knit along that uses Dawn's gorgeous yarn and a pattern that I designed especially for you all. And I am thrilled to pieces to share this all with you. So yeah, do you want to talk about the yarn or
Yes.
greet your members? Because we're streaming in a bunch of places right now.
We are. We're streaming on my YouTube and in my group and in Jessica's group and all over the place. So yay! um, I'm super excited too because, like I said in my email this morning, that I have wanted to have my own yarn line for a long time. So I don't know if you know that the name of my shop is called Twice Sheared Sheep, that we started out doing recycled yarn. So I used to buy sweaters from the thrift store and I'd unravel them and we sold the recycled yarn because I loved the idea of rescuing really precious fibers from life in a landfill. But I realized that it is an incredibly arduous process to do so, and it was more than I could handle anymore. And so we've shifted more over into the tools, but I've always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to have really good yarn in the shop again. And so our everyday merino yarn that we launched in January, what is our first of our yarn line, and I'm super excited to have yarn again. And it was even more fun than recycling yarn to design the yarn because I got to pick what structure I wanted it to be. And so it's a 4-ply yarn. So it's a very round yarn, which I think gives much more stitch definition for really textured stitches. And I think it turns out really beautiful. It feels round and soft in your hand versus if you've ever knit with maybe a 2-ply or a 3-ply or something where the lumps of the twists are a lot more defined in that yarn. Mm-hmm. And so then your stitches in your knitting end up being a lot more, it gives it a more earthy texture to the yarn. It feels a little more primitive. But I don't always like the way that it feels in my hands necessarily. I like a very round, very soft, very smooth sort of yarn. And so we did a 4-ply yarn to make it very round and very smooth. And the other benefit to it is that because it is very round, that the yarn has more stretch to it, or at least more give in your hands, which means it's easier for your hands to knit with, because as those plies kind of compact together as you're knitting, it stretches just a little bit. And then when you release it, as you release your stitch, then it puffs back up and it makes these nice puffy stitches, but it doesn't strain my hands. And so I was super excited to, and I know most of you are like, the structure of the yarn, tell me about the color, or whatever. But I was excited about the structure and about the merino that it's made out of, because I always want the yarn my goal for the yarn was that it was going to be durable. So it's not going to pill on you right away, because sometimes you get a really soft yarn and it's so soft in your hands. And then the first time that you wear the sweater, it just
that yarn that pills just by looking at it.
Yeah, it just pills by looking at it. And so I wanted it to be durable. So it wasn't going to do that. I wanted it to be comfortable to knit with for everything I wanted it to be the yarn that you reach for when you're like, I just need something that's going to work beautifully. And it maybe isn't that specialty yarn that you hold precious, but it's the one that you feel comfortable knitting a baby blanket out of, or a sweater out of, or a hat, or some mittens, or all the things that you're actually going to wear or use every day. Then I wanted it. That's why it's called Everyday Merino, is because it's for all the things that you're going to use every day. And so it needed to be durable, and it needed to be soft, and it needed to have colors that were actually wearable. A lot of times we really like really vibrant colors in knitting. We like or we really like colors as they look in the skein, but when we try and wear them, it maybe doesn't look as great on us. So all of the colors in our first 8 yarn colors in that first launch, they're all designed that they coordinate together with each other, so you can pair any one of the colors together and they'll look beautiful together. You know, as in, I laugh that all the colors are like my wardrobe at the moment. So, you know, the terracotta is almost the dress that I'm wearing right now.
No, it's
But
so true because when I was you had reached out and asked if I might be interested in designing something, which I was so over the moon excited about because Dawn and I have been, we'll say, fiber besties for many, many years now, going back to the first iterations of our businesses, and they've both evolved in really beautiful and warm and welcoming ways. Um, and then I was putting together a proposal for Dawn, and I like to include like color combinations when I'm sending a proposal. Like, I like these colors together or those colors together because it makes it easier for the company that that I'm working with to pick something out that they also like, but not left, kind of dangling in the wind with what
mhm.
colors that they might suggest. So I sent you like a whole list of like, what about this one and that one, or this one and this one and this one? Or it
Yeah,
was,
and they all look gorgeous together. They
yeah.
do. They all look beautiful together. I've been watching as so people who got our emails this morning have already started purchasing kits, and I've been watching all of the kit color combinations that have been coming in, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's going to be so pretty. Ooh, that's going to be pretty."
Yeah.
My favorite. So this one was pretty easy. Was the two pinks together is going to be
Right.
gorgeous. I think that's going to be stunning. Of course, the original was our two kind of autumny colors. They're kind of the pumpkin-y colors, the ochre and the terracotta.
Yeah.
But I saw somebody do this one today, and I have a dress in this color and I have a shirt in this color, and I wear them together all the time, and I love that ochre and that purple together. And it's not one that people think about a lot. They're like, "Oh, yellow and purple, really?" It's gorgeous together. It's really gorgeous together. So I'm excited to see all the things that everybody is going to do with all of their
There
colors.
you go. Yeah. So, yeah, so Dawn has kits of these beautiful yarn colors, and with the kit you get to pick your choice. So you pick color 1 and color 2. So you're not locked into the colors that Dawn liked or the colors that I liked. You can have your choice of all of the different colors, and you get to choose which ones that you want. We were talking about earlier that it could even be a beautiful design, and I'll show you, more pictures of it and more details. But even if you love just one of the colors, because there's so much texture in it, I think it would really be beautiful also just in a single color and not changing colors with the stripes. And also, if you're nervous about changing colors, I have tutorials. I'm going to walk you through all of that during the knit along. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to take your hand. I'm going to lead you through it all. And the kits, you get 2 balls of yarn, and then you get a digital PDF download of the cowl pattern. And that's what I designed. And these are
And
just some of
I
the colors.
I've read through the PDF, and Jessica does such an amazing job designing the patterns that, sometimes you may get a pattern and some parts are confusing or whatever, and she has done such a wonderful job of designing this pattern so that it really does just kind of lead you by the hand and go along, and parts are bolded to help you pay attention to certain things, and it's a beautifully done pattern. Jessica did such a great job.
Oh, thank you. And also there is in the pattern um, like a stitch, a row count checker so that you can know how many stitches you're supposed to have in each section. And that makes it so much easier if you put it down and you aren't sure, did you make that increase? Didn't you make that increase? But I highly, highly recommend, if you are not familiar with Dawn's row counters, you need at least one in your knitting life.
You do really need a chain row counter on your project. It's kind of life changing. And yes, Deborah, yes, all of her patterns are wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, we have friends. I will just share some comments. This is one of my favorite things about StreamYard, is that I can see, if you grant permission, I can see your name, your comment, and then if you shared a profile picture, then I can also see that. So we have some friends joining us from YouTube, and Teresa was glad she checked her emails earlier so she didn't miss us. And Carol, also watching on YouTube, says hello. And Jean is watching on Facebook and sends love from Oregon. And Deborah is joining us from Vermont, and Susan from Texas, and a friend from Virginia. And thank you, Deborah. That means so much. Deborah just finished my Sea Glass Memories shawl, or she's working on it. I don't know if you finished it yet. That I just did with Mindy, who's one of our other Fiber Bestie friends. And Catherine says hello from Michigan. And joining us from the Bronx, another friend just joined. I was in the Bronx on Saturday night at the zoo. I live not too far away. And Jen is joining us. And Karen was wondering how much the kit is.
So the kit is $44, and that includes 2 balls of our yarn and the PDF pattern from Jessica.
And all patterns are worn very well. That makes me so, so happy to hear. And Deborah is still working on it. So the good news, friends, is that the knit along is not going to start for a little bit. The kit orders are open now, but we want to let Dawn and her wonderful staff give them some time to actually box up your orders, pack them up, ship them out, and then give the post office time to actually deliver them to you before we cast on. So the sooner you can order, the more likely it is to arrive in time for you. So the orders are open now, and I'll share that link. I have a banner I can share with that. Share that with you. So if you go to doublethestitches.com/very-stripy KAL for knit along, KAL, you'll see all the information about the knit along, about my inspiration for the pattern, about the yarn. And then there's a button there that will take you straight to Dawn's website, to the listing. So you don't have to, search for anything. It'll be right there for you, and you can just go ahead, pick your colors, and check out on that. And I did also want to share just a little bit about my inspiration for the design. And so this was a sketch that I had sent to Dawn when I was working on my proposal of, what I might design with her yarn. I was so excited about it. And I kind of wanted to design with the everyday merino. I wanted to design something you could wear every day, that will keep you warm, that will keep you cozy, and also that is for every knitter. So if you're comfortable with knitting and you're comfortable with purling, then join us for the knit along. There'll be tutorials and all of that, and I'll walk you through that. I've done a lot of more detailed projects for knit alongs where there's lace or there's cables. I just wrapped up a brioche class. And not every knitter wants that level of complexity or is ready for it, because a lot of us have very busy lives and we just want to knit something beautiful. We just want to, pour our love into the stitches, but we don't want that mind melting, mind bending, brioche type pattern always. Sometimes there's a time and a place for those, but there's also a time and a place for something that is knits and purls and some increases to give you the shape of the cowl. So that was what I set out to do, was to design something that was, the majority of it was knits and purls, and there were no complicated detail stitches, and it would be easy to know where you were in the pattern. And I've seen, if you've been, following trends and stuff, there's so much stripy stuff going on, when you go shopping. So I wanted to incorporate stripes, and I wanted to incorporate some fun texture. And I just love knitting stripes because it gives you that small little instant gratification of like, let me just finish this stripe and then I'll get to the next color. And then, then we do another stripe and then another stripe. But it helps us, keep that motivation through the project as compared to, a sea of cables or lace where it isn't that same visual excitement that I think that I get when I knit stripes. And I think that a lot of you might feel that too. Um,
I think stripes
and
are totally addictive that way, that you get
yeah,
started on and you're like, okay, just one, I'll just finish this stripe. And oh, wait, I started the next one. Guess I have to keep going. And they're just, yeah.
we can't stop now.
Yeah, can't stop now.
Yeah, and I love to design patterns that give you that I can't stop now feeling. So this gave me all of that feelings. And I like to have my patterns tested by knitters of different skill levels. Everything goes to my tech editor, who is a true superhero. Her name is Bronwyn the Brave, is her brand, and she really is. And she dives in before my test knitters even see my patterns. She dives in and she goes through every detail and every stitch count and everything to make sure that the math works. Sometimes I need her help a little bit there, but generally that the math works, that the patterns are clear, that the explanations are clear, that the stitches that you're finding in the pattern and the definitions for them are the standard definitions that you are expecting to see. That's been one of my frustrations when I was a newer knitter, is sometimes you get this pattern, and I think it happens more often with crochet, but where patterns use designers kind of make up their own abbreviation for something. And then you have to think so much about it, because instead of using what's standard and what you're accustomed to seeing, there is this other thing that you have to remember, oh, wait, that is this other stitch. And so everything is standardized. Everything is what you would expect to see. And then my test knitters get access to the pattern. And that is a wonderful, beautiful process for me, because I get feedback from knitters of all different skill levels. And Dawn and I were talking about it before, the beauty of having test knitters that are on all levels, because they catch different things. An experienced knitter might, as John said, gloss over something because they know what you meant. And a new knitter might be tripped up by something that they've never done before. So this starts with a garter tab cast on, and there's a video to walk you through it stitch by stitch. I was showing Dawn before, my fancy little over the head camera thing, so I can record videos for you whenever it is needed to help you through the pattern. And so I'm here to support you through all of that. Before I go to the next slide, we have hi from Connecticut, and Deborah says she ordered hers today. And Susan had a question. She asked about the color Dove. Is that a gray shade?
So yeah, the Dove is a pale gray shade, but it does have just the tiniest tint of blue to it. So it's not a true neutral gray. It does lean just slightly blue.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Grays tend to either lean blue or green, I think, is the other direction that they go.
Mm-hmm.
And is that it, the top left corner?
Yeah, it's on the top left. And it, so this one is, I don't even know if it's going to show up in gray. So I don't know if you can see, it's got just a little bit of blue.
Nope, that's me. There we go.
So it has just a little bit of blue in that gray. And I think that the Dove is actually out of stock at the moment. We're expecting a new shipment from the mill this week, I think. So I think that the Ocean, which is the dark blue, and the Dove, which is the light blue gray, both of those are currently out of stock, but hopefully they should be back soon. Ooh, pine with natural. Yes, the pine was in our quarterly box, and it is so pretty. But the pine with the natural would be really great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And we have a question: how wide is the neckline? So I'm going to measure it because I have it here on my lap to show you all. So this is after blocking, and something that you want to keep in mind is that this is a a superwash merino yarn. So when you wet block it, which I do absolutely recommend, even though mine came off the needles and it didn't really feel like it needed it, but it just, blocking is magic and it lets the stitches kind of even out and balance and all of those beautiful things. So I know this is in the pattern, but offhand, it's about 16 inches circumference wide. So laid flat, that opening is about 8 inches, but it really, let's measure it that way. Let me measure it this way too. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Because of the dip in the back of the neck, which I'll show you what that looks like, is 11 inches across, so 22 inches. So it's a nice kind of generous neck opening, but not too much where it drapes. And so this is, let me go back this way and take that comment off. So this is not centered. So this is the opening of the cowl. So it's, not super tight. It's not a tight turtleneck. That was one of the things I remember from my childhood, was those, they were always super itchy, but those wool sweaters with the high tight turtleneck. So I don't design things like that. And then the stripes do get bigger. And so Dawn said someone had asked, there's a point in the center there, and the back doesn't have as much bulk to it because it dips down so that it gives you that, you don't get as heated with it that way. And it is shorter in the back, so it doesn't go, the point in the front is there and the back is there.
Well, and Jessica was telling me that it's got this great shaping, so it sits on your shoulders nicely, as opposed to being just straight up and down, so that it all sits right here. And
Right.
so, yeah, I'm excited for that. That it gives the, you can see in the neck shaping in the back and the shaping in the sides that Jessica thought so much about how this is going to actually sit on your body, which is brilliant, brilliant.
Oh, we have a request from Susan. Could you hold together plum and petal, please?
So the plum and the petal together. Like I said, all of the colors in this line are meant to go together, so they're all going to be gorgeous together.
Perfect. I love those together, Susan. And we have another question. Is there a way to make it larger for a bigger neck? So I'll talk through that in the knit along, but the short answer is yes. You could continue to add more rounds in or rows in that section before you join it. It starts at the top, it starts at the neck. So you could continue, you're starting with a small number of stitches. You're starting with the smallest triangle there, and you are increasing out from there. So if you wanted the neck to be larger, then you could just continue adding more stitches there, and then that should make it bigger around the neck for you. And the other thing I had talked about was that if you really want it even larger than it is, so it skims my shoulders. I'll even put it on for you all. So when I put it on, it's just enough to kind of skim my shoulders. One of my testers wanted to make it a little bit smaller because she wanted it to fit under her puffy jacket in Canada. She didn't want the extra bulk, but if you wanted to make it more like, continue it to be a little bit more like a poncho, you could continue knitting, adding more rounds, but you would need more yarn because I designed it to try to use up not all of the yarn so that you're playing yarn chicken, but to use the majority of the yarn that comes in the kit from Dawn.
Christine, we should have more ocean either by the end of this week or by next week.
Awesome. Oh, and Deborah says I did plum and white is beautiful.
Ooh, yeah.
And
White.
gorgeous, gorgeous colors. I love seeing all of your colors, and I can't wait to see more of your projects. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about what you can expect as part of the knit along, with a little teaser picture of, that beautiful texture that's in there. So you get an easy to follow pattern that has been professionally designed, professionally tech edited, and tested by fellow knitters of all different skill levels. You'll get a supportive and friendly community of passionate fellow knitters. I think that is what Dawn and I have both built our brands around. Those are our dream knitters, that you are, friendly and supportive and passionate and help each other through things and answer each other's questions. But you'll also get step-by-step guidance from me as we go through this creative journey together. So I'll be there. There'll be a help thread in the Double the Stitches Facebook group. And so I'll be there to answer any questions that, and this was hazelnut and plum. Let me make you a little bit bigger. So that's hazelnut and plum. That's pretty too.
That's pretty.
There are no bad colors.
There are no bad colors. They're all pretty together.
They're all just gorgeous, gorgeous. You did such a great job designing the colors and the yarn. And it was such a pleasure to knit with. It really was.
Yay.
And I don't say that. I don't say that when I don't mean it. And so my invitation to you is that we should all knit together. There'll be a cast-on party to get you started off on the right foot. During the cast-on party, I'm going to share tutorials so that you'll know the skills that you'll need to knit this project, and that will be recorded. So it'll be live on Zoom, and that link, when you sign up for the knit along emails, you'll get that Zoom link. It'll be the same Zoom link for all of the live events, just to make life super as simple as I can for you all. So it'll be the same Zoom link, but the cast-on party will be recorded because I will be planning to do teaching. And so I want to share that with you, even if you don't happen to be available. We're going to do some Wednesday nights and one or two, I don't remember, Monday nights in the evening. So we're going to start, I think we said 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern. I will confirm that. I'll make sure I send that information out to you all. I know that we were starting after Dawn's usual Wednesday knit group, so that we didn't have that conflict. If you are a regular attendee for Dawn's knit group, I didn't want to interfere with that. And so then we thought that this might be a fun way where you can hop from one Zoom to the other while you're already in your comfy clothes and already working on a project. And so you're all invited to attend too. There is no cost to join the knit along, other than either purchasing a kit from Twice Sheared Cheap or purchasing the pattern from Ravelry.
So I just looked, and the Zooms are at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Thank you.
So 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. So if you do join if you're one of our friends who are on our Wednesday night knit club, knitting group, Zoom knitting group, it'll be right after we end. So
perfect timing. Yeah, so we'll have the cast-on party, and then we'll have 3 fun, casual, low-pressure knit nights on Zoom so that we can get to know each other better. I will answer all of your questions, even if it is just on one of the Zoom knit nights. If you have a question, come and hang out and ask, and I'm happy to do teaching during those Zooms. But the idea behind those is that they're more social, and I don't typically record the knit night sessions because I want us to be able to connect more authentically and not worry that Great Aunt Susie is going to see something on YouTube that you said and, call you up about it. So, and then you'll share your progress photos, ask questions. We'll all knit together in community. And if you share pictures in the Facebook group, then I will, throughout our knit along, I like to go live every so often in my group and do a progress party and show off the color combinations and answer questions that have come up. But you can get support and help in between that. So if you have yarn questions, those are for Dawn. If you have pattern questions, those are for me. And then let me just pause and see what other questions. So we answered the one about ocean yarn and hazelnut and plum. Lisa asked if you have more purple colors. I think you have one kind of in each.
Yeah. So we don't have more purple colors. Our first collection, again, we're designed to coordinate with each other. So they're all kind of in the same family, but kind of one of each main color. So this is our only purple. We are planning on a new collection of colors sometime next year. But, and again, they will all plan to coordinate with each other. And hopefully they can also marry nicely with these colors too. But we only have the one purple.
Okay. And then Christine was asking about a gray, and the closest I think is a dove, which is on back order, right?
Yeah, we do have the dove, but it is on back order, hopefully in by the end of the week or by next week. This is the dove color. And it's gray with just a little bit of touch of blue to it.
Perfect. And what other questions do we have? Karen asked, where can we find the pattern to purchase? So you can go to this link, which I'll put the active link in the video description when we're done, so you can click on it. But it's doublethestitches.com/very stripy, and that will link you to all the different places. So from that page, you will find information about buying the kits. You'll also find a link to Ravelry if you just want the pattern and you want to knit from your stash. And then at the very bottom of that page, you will also find, let me, if I share, I'll quickly share that screen if that worked. Yes, it did. Okay. So this is what that sign up page looks like. And so there's information about the pattern. That's what the pattern cover looks like. This is all the information about ordering the kits. And there is something here which I did want to mention I am working on and will have available at no additional cost, a large print version of the pattern. So that is great for those who struggle with their vision. My font sizes are really geared to make them easy to read. I don't use crazy fonts. It's a simple sans serif font at a 12 point. But I also create a second PDF for a lot of my patterns that has large print, like 24 to 26 point, where everything is spelled out. And the beauty of that is also that you can take that same PDF and you can use it with screen reader technology. So there are fancy things out there, but even Adobe Acrobat has an option to read the text on the screen. And so that makes it more accessible to anyone who has trouble following or reading print on a page. So if you purchase the kit from Dawn, reach out to me, just send me an email and I will send you the large print pattern PDF as soon as it is available. And that will also be added on Ravelry. And then you want to make sure that you sign up for the knit along emails. This section of the page here links to get the pattern on Ravelry. It's called Very Stripy Cowl. A little bit about my inspiration. And then down here is where you want to go to sign up for the cowl knit along emails. And it's a super simple form, just first name, last name, and email. And that is how you'll get the Zoom links to join us live, and the updates and all of that in between. So, 6 more comments.
I was going to say, so, that if you want to buy a kit, that's wonderful. If you want to knit from stash, that's wonderful. If you want to, if this cowl is not your thing, if you just want to head over to Ravelry and give the pattern a like to give Jessica a boost for the algorithm, we'd appreciate that too. So
Yes.
however you want to participate is great.
Yes, we do. I do always appreciate that love. It makes such a big difference. And Dawn is so sweet to share that with you all. The more people that visit a pattern page, that interact with it by liking it or adding it to your queue, even if you never plan on knitting it, helps to get it more visible to other knitters who maybe don't know about, you know, how wonderful Dawn is and this collaboration that we are doing. There was a question, what is the yarn weight? So it is a worsted weight yarn, and it is knit on pretty, not gigantic needles, but US 9, which is a 5.5 millimeter needle. And that gives it a lot of nice drape. It makes it a really soft, kind of flowy garment, and helps it go fast. And Christine said she's a great teacher. I just did the shawl with her. Thank you, Christine. If you are stash diving, what weight do I need and how many yards? So you want worsted weight yarn and in 2 colors. And I'll get you that information. So the yarn from Dawn has
185 yards to 100 grams.
Yeah, in each color. So you need, or double that if you want to knit it all with one color.
Mm-hmm.
And Carol says, since I have the pine already, can I just purchase the natural and participate in the knit along?
Yes.
So yes, so I would head over to Twice Sheared Sheep, to Dawn's website. You could click the link to get there, and then you could navigate to just buy the yarn, and then just buy the natural that you wanted, and then you can grab the pattern on Ravelry. And I have so much yarn. I want to stash dive first, of course. So would Dove and Ocean go well together?
Oh, they would. If you want to hold on just a second, I think I have one ball in my personal stash of the ocean. I can show you against this. But
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the ocean, and up next to the dove would give you kind of.
That's pretty together.
I told you, all of the colors are designed to be pretty with each other.
That's awesome. And Jean says, just ordered my kit and also some fun tools and gadgets. Love you, ladies, and the assistance you offer.
Oh, Jean.
Sonia is one of my Stitch Society members, and she tested this pattern for us, and it was her first time test knitting a pattern, and she was, I think, a little bit, unsure going into the process and wondering if she qualified as a test knitter. And absolutely, as I said, I love having test knitters from all different skills. And Christine said I already signed up, and Kathy says so exciting. And Susan said, did you send the email already to join the knit along? So I sent an email this morning to invite you all to join us here. And the email with the links to the yarn, the links to the pattern and Ravelry, and the link to sign up for the knit along, that is coming later today. And I don't know how to use Zoom other to click on the link. That's all you'll have to do is the link will be in the email. You just click on the link. I also always include Zoom gives a meeting room ID and a password just in case the link doesn't work. So then it would just be like filling in a form, and you just can copy the numbers from the meeting ID and copy the password, and it should be super simple to join us. And JL says, glad I caught y'all even if late. So if you are joining us late, this is recorded so you can hop back either in my group or Dawn's group, or YouTube, wherever you're watching us from, and you can go back to the beginning if you would like. And
Christine, if you want the Dove and the Ocean, which are both out of stock at the moment, but hopefully should be back in by the end of the week, go ahead and choose your colors on that kit page, and then click on the add to wish list button and put your email address in, and the website fairies will automatically send you an email the very second that I update that stock. So yes, if you want those 2 colors, you are going to have to wait to order your kit. But if you add to the wish list, then the website fairies will let you know when it's available.
Yes, I love your website fairies.
Sometimes they're not very bright, but they sure
Susan said, I'll be using the pine and dark pink. I can't remember the proper name.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So yes, these two.
Yeah.
The dark pink is called Sugar Beet. That'll be really pretty.
I think, was that the color that we did the Alexander hat in?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jessica and I have been collaborating with this yarn since the very beginning. So when I was first testing it out, I ordered a sample batch from the mill to make sure that it was what we wanted it to be. And I asked Jessica if she had a pattern that went well with it that we could do a kit. And I only had the sugar beet color. It was the only color that we had because it was the sample. And those kits sold out in like 2 hours or something,
Yeah,
like
it
something
was
crazy like that.
incredible.
It was incredible. And they still sell really well on our website because it's a beautiful hat.
Yeah.
The Alexander cable beanie is a beautiful, beautiful hat. And the cables look fantastic in this yarn.
And I think that was when you first introduced your pom-poms?
Yeah,
historical
I
pom-poms?
think those were the smaller ones. So we had smaller pom-poms, and just a month or so ago, we released like these enormous, giant, fluffy pom-poms that I love so much better. They're huge.
Yeah, awesome. This would even be, now I'm getting ahead of myself, but at the point of the cowl, that would be fun. A pom-pom.
Oh, or a tassel. A
Or a
tassel.
tassel
That
with
would be,
whatever
yeah.
yarn that you have left. That
Mhm.
is gorgeous sugar beet and pine.
It
And Kat
is.
also says, I love my Alexander beanie. So before we head off, so these are, let me hide the banner so you can see. I did have all the dates. I was prepared. I just didn't know I was. So these were the knit along dates. So the kit orders are open now. So order your kit, get your choice of colors before Dawn sells out. Dawn likes to break the internet and sell things out. So the sooner you order, the more time you're giving Dawn and her website fairies and her storeroom fairies to pack up your kits with love and ship them out to you. The cast on parties, we still have time. So if you're in the middle of a project, don't worry about it. You still have some time to finish that up or make more progress on it before we cast on. And that's going to be Wednesday, October 25th. And then we have 3 knit nights on Zoom. So it'll be Monday, October 30th, Wednesday, November 8th, and Monday, November 13th. And all 4 of those Zoom things will start at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. And
Can I say thank you for putting in the mountain time there? I don't know why, but like back in the day on the TV when they're like, it's at 6 Eastern, and and they'd give you Eastern and Central and then Pacific, and they totally skip mountain time. And I'm like,
oh no. And again, that link for anyone that would like to get more information or would like to check out the pattern, the kit colors, all of that stuff. As you can see, the colors are to die for. They're just absolutely stunning colors. So you can sign up for the knit along emails, which is how you'll get the knit night Zooms and the cast on party Zoom link. And the link to the cowl kits from Twice Sheared Cheap is on that page too. And that makes it nice and easy because otherwise I'd have to give you a link like this.
you
So
don't want that link.
well, you deserve a pretty link. Yeah, so I am just so excited about all of this and so thrilled to have Dawn. It's always such a treat to get to talk to Dawn.
Yes, I'm so excited too. And thank you, Jessica, for designing such a beautiful pattern in my yarn. It makes me so happy.
Yes, we'll have to see what comes next.
And I can't wait to see what the colors that everybody chooses, because there's so much variety to be able to play with. And yeah, I think that um, I'm hoping somebody will do it in a single color so I can see the pretty texture in just the single color. But
Yeah. We'll
I,
see.
I can't blame you if you don't want stripes.
Dang, I have the coolest green and teal, but they are fingering. Can't make that work. Or what about a variegated and a solid?
Ooh.
So those could be pretty. Fingering, you could probably double, I think, and that might work if you have enough yardage. But if you have 400 yard skeins of fingering and you double them, I think you should be good. If you don't mind working, with 2 strands at a time. The thing that I like to caution about combining colors is that you want to make sure that there's enough contrast between the colors. And that's the beautiful thing about Dawn's colors is that um, I haven't actually checked the color contrast on them, but I think you did a really great job to see that they all work nicely together. So sometimes when you do a variegated or a multicolored yarn and a solid, the tendency is to try to match them. And my recommendation is don't try to match them because you get your colors kind of bleed and blend into each other if you go matchy-matchy with a multicolor, a variegated, and a solid. So try to go with something a color that coordinates but doesn't exactly match the colors that are in variegated. With the stripes, it doesn't matter so much. It matters much more when you're doing things, just speaking generally, like color work like Fair Isle or Mosaic. Those you really lose the pattern because they really blend into each other. And then if there is, decorative stitching in there, you won't see those shapes because it will bleed into each other. So that's my little tip bit on advice. But if you have specific colors that you're thinking of, post them in the Double the Stitches Facebook group, and I will help kind of guide you. I'll answer your color questions too. And Kathy says a tweed and a dark color and a light stripe. I like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, everyone I think has done like a lighter background and a darker stripe from my testers. I would love to see it reversed. I think that would be pretty.
Well, I think because in your sample you did the lighter color as the background,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, this is what it must be. And
Yeah.
oh, that would be pretty with the darker background and the lighter stripes.
Yeah. So I love seeing your creativity. I think that we as knitters are all artists and we love to take things and make them our own, even if it's just with the color combinations. And so that's why I like to see what you guys do. It's so inspiring to me. And I know Dawn and her staff have been chatting all day about this color combination is pretty and I love that one. And so that's always fun.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
And Christine says, thank you to both of you. Love what you both do. Thank you all. We love you. You are why we, get up in the morning and do what we do.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. I am in Dawn's Facebook group. So if you need me, you can reach out to me in there. But all of the knit along posts and events and stuff will be in the Double the Stitches group.
I think just for simplicity, we said
Pick
everything will
one.
be in Jessica's group so she can give you the most support for the pattern.
Yes.
That she is the designer. Yeah.
Yes. And that will make it easier because I always like to encourage people, if you have a question, ask it because someone else has that same question and is feeling shy and wondering, or trying to make themselves brave enough to, to get the courage to ask. So if you have a question, definitely ask, and that helps everyone. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you all so much for joining us for this. And thank you, Dawn, for sharing your beautiful, beautiful yarn with me and for being so supportive and encouraging always. All right. Take care, friends.